files in one condition out of two, then also we can perform a task. So in order to have this, you can use two lines verticals line like this. Okay. So those all are the operators in a C language. So decision making statement, so let's understand. So firstly we have to understand if else statement. So first let us begin with if statement. So what we have in if, so in if we have if, then some condition, and if this condition satisfied, then and then we must perform some task. So there will be some task or some statement that we have to perform. So in order to understand it, how our programming flow may be, so firstly we have to add our header file, so stdio.h, then include con io.h. Then we have to start our main, so void main, and let's say if I define integer x equal to, let's say, 3, and let's say if I am writing if my x is greater than 0, so this is my if. Notice condition x is greater than 0, then what should be print? So there should be printf, that percentage t, and I have to print x. So you can use this without any curly bracket, or you can enclose this printf within the two curly brackets. So just to and then we have to complete this void main loop. Okay, so just to verify this code, let's do programming with uh, some editor. So I'm using code blocks for this end, so let me edit. So I will start my code with hash include stdio.h, then hash include con io.h, and then I will start my main code, and then I will define what is my x. So x is 3, and then I will write a conditional statement. If my x is greater than 0, then something must be printed, and what should be printed? So let's say there should be printing of x itself, so percentage d and x. I am using this percentage d because I have defined x as an integer. Okay, so let me save it, and yeah, let me run it. So if I run it, so 3 is shown here. Now in order to check whether this will run for, let's say my, if I am changing this condition, let's say my x is greater than 5, then it must be printed, otherwise it should not be there. So if I run it again, so nothing is printed. So in this way you can implement only if loops. Now there is the other way, other loops as well. So in this case there may be two situations. One is if, then you have to check some conditions, then there may be some process or some statement or some task that you have to perform, and if this condition doesn't satisfied here, then you have to do the other task. Okay, so say for an example, let's say if I am having, the initial code will be the same, so stdio.h, con io.h, then void main, and then So let's say if I am having two variables, so x is 5 and y is 3, and then I will write two conditions. If my x is greater than y, then what should be printed? So printf, I'll print x. Okay, and else printf then what I will print is y, and then this thing I have to end here. So let's say in this case if x is greater than y, so of course 5 is greater than 3, so this condition will be satisfied. In case I will interchange 5 and 3, then in that so in the reverse case this will be 3 and this will be 5, so y will be 5 here. So in the other case also, let's say if I interchange both, then also on a screen I will get 5. Understand this with code blocks. So I have to do little bit changes in the main code. So I will define y as well. So x is 5 and y is 3, and this I will compare x and y. If my x is greater than y, there must be print some else x. Else what should I print? I should print y here. Okay, so see here it will compare x and y, and x is greater than, so it will print 5. Okay, so if I run it, yeah, so what is the problem here? So integer x and integer y, yeah, so there is, I just forgot to add this, so let me build and run. So see 5 is printed. Now if I just replace this both the quantity, now x is 3 and y is 5, so in this case the first will not be satisfied, so x is not greater than y, that's why this x will means 3 will not be printed. In this case y will be printed, and y is, it is right now 5. If I just build and run it, so again I have 5 with me. Now I can just implement the same thing with a different case also. If my x is equal to 5, then and then x must be printed, else y must be printed. So say for example, if x is equal to 5, then my x will be printed. So let me just close this, build and run. So this is 5, that's why x is printed. Now let's say if I change it to any other value, let's say 3. If I am changing this 3, and let's say if I am y is 10, say for an example, so in any other value of x, y will be printed, so y will be 10 here. If I just rerun this code, so 10 is printed. Okay, so in this way, based on your application, you can just implement if else loop. Now there is one more, you kind of implement, say you have multiple conditions which you require to check, so you can use first if, and then you will have some statement, and then you can use else if again. Okay, and you can just put condition here, and then your statement will be here. Then again you can use else if as many times as you want, but in last you have to use, and last you have to use else, and then some statement. So this you can understand with one examples. So say for an example, let's say as we know that um, we have divisions of timing, right? So we know that timing, if we have 0 to 12 noon, okay, 12 noon, so we say good morning, right? Then from the 12 noon to to 18 p.m., right? So it means 18, so it's like 0 p.m. to 6 p.m. We use a good afternoon, right? And then from the 18 to 24, let's say, if we say good evening, okay. So let's say if we program something to print this, so based on the timing, and let's say if something goes wrong with the clock and if it is showing like 26 or 28, means the value which is greater than 24, in this case what I would print is uh, you know time is out of range. Okay, so now here I have multiple conditions which are required to check. So what I can do is I have to check two things. If my time is greater than or equal to 0, and so and time is less than or equal to 12, then I have to print, okay, what I should print, so good morning, right? So in this way, and then the second, in order to check the second condition, I will use else if, and again I will write the condition time is greater than or equal to 12, and time is less than or equal to 18. And what I will print, so I will print a good afternoon, okay. Similarly, if then again else if my time is greater than or equal to 18, and time is less than or equal to 24, then what I should print, I should print that good evening. And then in last, if this time is out of range, then else I will print time is out of range. So in this way I can code it and I can check it. So let's understand with code block. Yeah, so let's say firstly define me time. I will define, let's say it is 8, okay. Then I will check it, so I'll start with if my time is greater than or equal to 0 and time is less than or equal to 12, then what I should print, so print a good morning, okay. Just to understand this, now time is in the range of 0 to 12, so let me just run this. Yeah, so where is the problem? So the type of data, integer time, okay. So let me build and run it. Yeah, so yeah, the additional exit operator is there. Okay, now let me run it. Yeah, so good morning is printed, right? Now let's say if I use 14 here, and let me just rebuild and run this. So there is nothing get printed here, so there is no output. Now in order to use nested if else, so else if, then again I will write this condition that my time is greater than 12 and time is less than or equal to 18. Then what I'll print if good afternoon, and then again I will put one more conditions. If my time is greater than 18 and time is less than or equal to 24, I'll print what I'll print good good evening. Okay, and in last, if anything is not there, so what I should print, so time is out of range, because we know that we have only 24 hours, right? Okay, yeah, so we can check it. Now let me just run it again. So it shows good afternoon, and let's say if I put 20 hours and if I just run it again, so it says good evening. And let's say if I just go out of range, if I just build and run it, so time is out of range. So in this way you can use